Hello, everyone, and welcome back. You're listening to Daily C1 English Vocabulary. My name is Emma.
And my name is Tom.
Today, we're exploring 10 essential words and expressions that will elevate your English across a wide range of situations, from professional discussions to everyday conversations.
We'll break down their meanings, show you exactly when to use them, and help you understand the subtle differences that make each word unique.
Let's dive in. Our first word is integrity, a noun that means more than just honesty. Integrity has two main meanings, and both are incredibly important in professional and personal contexts.
The first meaning is moral uprightness, the quality of being honest and having strong moral principles that you refuse to compromise. For example, the journalist resigned rather than publish the false story. Her integrity wouldn't allow her to mislead readers. Or, we chose to work with him because of his integrity. He's transparent about costs and never cuts corners.
By the way, cut corners is a useful idiom that means to do something in the easiest or cheapest way, often sacrificing quality, the opposite of what someone with integrity would do. This is the word you need when describing someone who does the right thing, even when no one is watching, even when it's difficult or costly.
The company's integrity was questioned after the scandal revealed they'd been hiding safety data. Compared to honesty, integrity is broader and deeper. Honesty is about telling the truth, but integrity encompasses your entire moral character. It's about consistency between your values and your actions.
The second meaning is the state of being whole, complete, or undamaged, often used for structures, systems, or data. For example, the engineers checked the structural integrity of the bridge after the earthquake. Or, the software includes features to ensure data integrity during the transfer process.
This word is moderately formal. It's especially common in professional and business contexts, but you'll also hear it in everyday conversations when discussing someone's character or trustworthiness. When you say someone has integrity, you're giving one of the highest compliments possible in professional settings.
Now let's move to another word about value, merit. Merit can function as both a noun and a verb, and understanding both uses will make you sound sophisticated and precise.
As a noun, merit means the quality of being good, valuable, or deserving attention. It's about whether something has real worth. For example, the proposal has merit. It's worth discussing further at the next meeting. Or, her promotion was based entirely on merit, not on personal connections.
This is the word you reach for when you want to talk about whether something is genuinely worthwhile. The theory has some merit, but it needs more empirical support. You'll frequently hear the phrase on its own merits, meaning judged by its actual quality rather than external factors. Let's evaluate this idea on its own merits, not based on who suggested it. And here's an interesting related word: meritocracy. A system where people advance based on their merit, their actual ability and achievements, rather than on wealth, connections, or privilege. In a true meritocracy, promotions are based purely on merit, not on who you know.
As a verb, merit means to deserve or be worthy of something. For example, this issue merits our immediate attention. We can't delay any longer. Or, her performance merits recognition. She's exceeded every target this quarter. The verb form is quite formal and often appears in professional or academic writing, though the noun form is common even in everyday conversation. Compared to value, merit is more objective and earned. Compared to worth, it focuses on deserved recognition, not price or usefulness.
Unfortunately, not everyone operates with integrity, and some people actively deceive. And this is our next verb. To deceive means to deliberately cause someone to believe something that isn't true, to mislead or trick someone. It suggests deliberate manipulation and often involves more elaborate efforts to create false impressions than simply telling a lie. For example, the company was accused of deceiving customers about the environmental impact of its products.
Deceive is the word you need when describing intentional, often calculated dishonesty. He deceived his family for years about where he was working. Or, the advertisement deceived customers into thinking the product was made locally when it wasn't. You'll often see it in the phrase, "don't be deceived," a warning not to be fooled. Don't be deceived by the low price. Read the terms carefully.
The adjective forms are deceptive and deceiving, though deceptive is more common. The calm weather was deceptive. The storm hit within hours. The noun is deception. The entire operation was built on deception and false promises.
Compared to lie, deceive emphasizes the act of causing someone to believe falsehood, often through more than just words. It can involve creating elaborate false impressions. Compared to mislead, deceive is stronger and more intentional. You can mislead someone accidentally, but deceive always implies deliberate intent. Compared to trick, deceive is more serious and formal. Trick can be playful, but deceive rarely is. This word is neutral in formality. It works in both everyday conversation and formal contexts, though it always carries a serious negative connotation.
Sometimes deception works because people fail to grasp what's really happening. Grasp is our next verb. To grasp means to understand something, especially something complex or difficult, or literally to hold something firmly. Let's start with the physical meaning. She grasped the railing tightly as the boat rocked in the waves. Or, he grasped her hand to help her up the steep slope.
But the figurative meaning, to understand, is what makes this word essential for C1 speakers. For example, it took me a while to grasp the concept, but now I understand how the algorithm works. Grasp is the perfect word for talking about understanding, especially when something is challenging or takes mental effort. Do you grasp what I'm saying, or should I explain it differently? Or, once you grasp the basic principles, the rest becomes much easier.
The noun form is also useful. She has an excellent grasp of economic theory. Or, his grasp of the language improved dramatically after 6 months abroad. You'll also hear within your grasp or beyond your grasp, meaning achievable or unachievable. Success was finally within her grasp after years of hard work. The solution seemed just beyond their grasp.
Compared to understand, grasp suggests a more complete, firm comprehension, like physically holding something. Compared to comprehend, grasp is slightly less formal and often implies achieving understanding after some difficulty. This word is neutral in formality and versatile. Use it whenever you want to talk about understanding, especially understanding something challenging.
But some things are so obvious that you can't fail to grasp them. Which brings us to blatant. Blatant is an adjective meaning completely obvious, done openly without any attempt to hide it, often in a shocking or offensive way. It's not just obvious, it's brazenly, shamelessly obvious. For example, the referee's decision was blatant favoritism. Everyone in the stadium could see it.
Blatant is the word you reach for when something wrong or inappropriate is done so openly it's almost insulting. That's a blatant lie. We have video evidence that contradicts your statement. Or, the company showed blatant disregard for environmental regulations. You'll frequently hear it with negative words. Blatant discrimination, blatant violation, blatant corruption, blatant disrespect. The contract contained blatant errors that should have been caught during review.
The adverb form is blatantly. He blatantly ignored the safety protocols. This word is moderately formal and carries strong disapproval. Use it when you want to express that something isn't just wrong, but obviously and offensively wrong. Compared to obvious, blatant adds moral judgment and suggests shamelessness. Compared to flagrant, the words are very similar, though blatant is more common in everyday speech, while flagrant appears more in legal or formal context. Compared to overt, blatant is stronger and more negative. Overt just means open, but blatant means shockingly open and inappropriate.
While some work is blatantly bad, other work falls into that disappointing middle category, mediocre. Mediocre means of only moderate quality, neither good nor bad, ordinary and uninspiring. It's one of the most useful words for expressing polite disappointment. For example, the restaurant was mediocre, not terrible, but nothing special either.
Mediocre perfectly captures that frustrating middle ground when something isn't bad enough to complain about, but isn't good enough to recommend. His performance has been mediocre lately. He meets basic requirements, but shows no initiative or creativity. Or, the movie received mediocre reviews. Critics found it adequate, but forgettable. This word is useful in professional contexts when you need to give honest but diplomatic feedback.
The proposal is mediocre. It needs significant improvements before we can move forward. The noun form is mediocrity. The company culture had settled into mediocrity, with no one pushing for excellence. Compared to average or ordinary, mediocre carries more negative judgment. It suggests disappointment with the ordinariness. Compared to poor or bad, mediocre is less harsh. Something mediocre meets minimum standards but fails to impress. This word is neutral in formality and particularly valuable because it lets you express criticism without being harsh or confrontational.
Sometimes mediocre results happen accidentally, but other times things go wrong deliberately. Our next adverb. Deliberately means intentionally, on purpose, with careful thought and intention. It's not accidental or impulsive, it's conscious and planned. For example, she deliberately avoided mentioning the previous failure in her presentation.
Deliberately is essential when you want to emphasize that something was done consciously and intentionally, not by accident. He spoke deliberately, choosing each word carefully. Or, the company deliberately misled shareholders about the financial situation. You'll hear it frequently in legal or formal contexts when intention matters. The investigation will determine whether the data was deleted accidentally or deliberately. It can be neutral or negative depending on context. Neutral. She deliberately took her time to ensure accuracy. Negative. He deliberately undermined his colleague's project.
The adjective form is deliberate. It was a deliberate choice, not a mistake. Compared to intentionally or purposely, deliberately is more formal and often emphasizes the careful, conscious nature of the action. Compared to on purpose, deliberately is more formal and sophisticated, perfect for professional or academic contexts. This word is moderately formal and works beautifully when you need to emphasize that something wasn't accidental.
While some people deliberately do harm, others deliberately do brilliant things, which brings us to ingeniously. Ingeniously is an adverb meaning in a clever, creative, and inventive way, showing original and resourceful thinking. It describes solutions that are not just smart, but cleverly innovative. For example, the architect ingeniously converted the awkward space under the stairs into a functional home office.
Ingeniously is the word you want when praising creative problem solving. The team ingeniously repurposed existing technology to create a completely new application. Or, she ingeniously combined two simple ingredients to create a revolutionary cleaning solution. The adjective form is ingenious. It was an ingenious solution that no one else had thought of.
Compared to cleverly or smartly, ingeniously suggests more creativity and originality. Compared to brilliantly, ingeniously focuses specifically on creative inventiveness rather than just excellence. This word is moderately formal and perfect for professional contexts when you want to complement innovative thinking.
But sometimes people ingeniously hide problems by turning a blind eye. Our next expression. This idiom means to deliberately ignore something wrong or unpleasant that you're aware of, to pretend not to notice. It's not about being genuinely unaware. It's about choosing not to acknowledge what you know is happening.
For example, management turned a blind eye to the safety violations because addressing them would be expensive. This expression is incredibly useful for describing situations where people deliberately ignore problems. The teacher turned a blind eye to the students using their phones because the lesson was almost over. Or, for years, regulators turned a blind eye to the company's questionable accounting practices.
The phrase comes from naval history. Admiral Nelson supposedly held his telescope to his blind eye to avoid seeing a signal to retreat. It's more diplomatic than saying deliberately ignored, because it suggests the person is trying not to see, rather than aggressively ignoring. Compared to ignore, turn a blind eye emphasizes the deliberate choice not to acknowledge something you're actually aware of. Compared to overlook, turn a blind eye is more active and suggests you know the problem exists, but choose not to address it. This expression is neutral in formality and works in both casual and professional contexts.
And finally, let's end with a practical expression about starting something new. Learn the ropes. This phrase means to learn the basic skills and knowledge needed to do a job or activity, to understand how something works. It's perfect for talking about the initial learning phase when you're new to something. For example, don't worry if you feel overwhelmed in your first week. It takes time to learn the ropes.
Learn the ropes is the expression you need when talking about getting comfortable with a new job, skill, or environment. She's still learning the ropes, but she's making good progress. Or, once you learn the ropes, the job becomes much easier. You'll also hear, show someone the ropes, meaning to teach someone the basics. My manager spent the first month showing me the ropes.
The phrase comes from sailing. New sailors had to literally learn how to handle all the different ropes on a ship. It's casual and friendly, perfect for encouraging someone who's just starting out. Compared to learn the basics, learn the ropes is more colorful and idiomatic. Compared to get trained, learn the ropes is less formal and suggests picking up practical knowledge through experience, not just formal instruction. This expression is informal to neutral, great for everyday conversation and supportive professional contexts, but avoid it in very formal writing.
So there you have it. 10 powerful words and expressions that will add precision and sophistication to your English across many different contexts. From describing integrity and evaluating merit, to recognizing when someone deceives and understanding what you truly grasp. From identifying blatant violations and critiquing mediocre work, to explaining when something was done deliberately or ingeniously, and knowing when people turn a blind eye while others learn the ropes. These words will make your English more nuanced, more professional, and more impactful.
Thank you so much for joining us today. We hope this episode gives you the tools to express yourself with greater precision and confidence. Until next time, take care and keep learning.
Thanks for listening, and see you in the next episode.